Hey guys, I'm Cassie. I'm a missionary with Youth at the Mission. You guys have been praying for me and talking about me, and I fully appreciate it, but I recognize this is the last week, so I wanted to share this week about something different. So last time I didn't do this at nighttime, so we'll see how this works with sound and dynamics. Right now I'm in our office, and the sound is horrible because it's got tile floors and echoes everywhere, and we have a refrigerator that's like 3 feet high that has that turn on thing. So for those of you who have not been with us on this journey of the prayer time, we've been talking about who I am and how I got involved with Youth at the Mission, and also what I do nowadays serving with YWAM Ships Orange County. So yep, that's kind of been what's happening. So ask everybody there for details if you missed out on the good stuff. So this week I really want to talk to you guys about what I'm doing in the future. As most of you guys may or may not know, within YWAM, I am not directed by anybody. I don't have anybody telling me where I need to go, what I need to be doing next. No bosses over me pointing me in a direction. I work for God, so I do a lot of praying, and most places I have been have asked for at least a 2-year commitment. So I have stayed in a place for 2 years and then gone somewhere else. So yep, in the future I have some plans sort of what I want to be doing. So this week I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about that, have you pray into that, and just yeah, see if you guys have any wisdom for this next couple months and years of my life. So I was living in Dominican Republic where I met Brian, and I had served there after I had done my initial school with YWAM, my discipleship training school. I ended up working there for 2 years and loved it, fell in love with the culture, fell in love with the people, fell in love with the food. Just there's a lot to love about that country. I was like, Brian, kind of wonderful. But last, I guess it'd be a year and a half ago now, one of my leaders came up to me and said, hey, they're offering this school, we really think you should do it. So after a lot of prayer and just really seeking God for confirmation, I really felt like he was leading me to that school. And it was a leadership training school being offered in Tijuana, Mexico. I headed down to Mexico and took part in a leadership training school. I left for good. I never planned on coming back to the DR. When I prayed, I was really seeking God. And I said, okay, so what do I do with my bags? And he said, pack up everything you have with you and go. And so I said, okay, well, we're going to Mexico then. So that's what I did. In the leadership training school, the point is to develop and launch leaders and send them with a detailed 5-year plan of what they're going to be doing for the next 5 years in their ministry. So it trains us to plan, and it trains us to focus on what our real goals and plans are. But one of the things that they had us do that really, I guess, paved the way for us to do that was we spent the first like 3 or 4 weeks of this 3-month school seeking what God had set on our hearts, like what were our desires and our passions, and what was our purpose, and why were we even alive, what made us tick. And from there we were able to base a plan on not only walking in our potential, but in strategically seeing the Great Commission fulfilled as far as it was up to us. I really appreciated that from that time, because I'm not a planner at all, and I never had really taken the time to see the things that God had laid on my heart and then made plans according to those. So some things I really found out that were important to me were discipleship, training, teaching, worshiping, and then loving people to Jesus. And so I made a plan kind of according to that. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was how much I love working with Latinos and Spanish-speaking people from Mexico and, well, Central America in general, and then South America as well. So my plan included that. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what the 1040 window is, it's a missionary term, and it's the name comes from the latitude lines of the world that are 10 degrees north up to 40 degrees north in the Eastern Hemisphere. Well, I guess for you guys it'd be this side, right? And they in that chunk there that encapsulates most of North Africa and South Asia, it's the greatest population of poverty, lack of education, lack of access to the gospel, lack of health resources. It's an incredibly just poor area in all senses of the word. And the heart for missionaries is to go there and be able to preach the gospel, because the gospel isn't just about seeing people give their lives to Jesus. It's about seeing that gospel lived out in every aspect of their lives, whether it be in education, in government, in relationships and families, in art and entertainment. We want to see that just touch every sphere of society. So I actually had gone to the 1040 window. I'd been to North Africa in 2008, I guess. No, 2009 in January, and was able to work among an unreached people group in. I guess I shouldn't tell where. I don't want to get in trouble here. But in that group, there's only a handful of known Christians, and yeah, it's very dangerous for them and it's very risky. And we went there to be an encouragement, a blessing, and I went with a group and they already have a full-blown ministry there, and just blessing that people group and loving them and just helping them understand what it looks like to be a Christian and what your heart, what the changes that happen in your heart in the midst of that. So when we went, it was like the hardest time I'd ever had doing missions, because I felt like I had to completely turn off my personality to be there ministering. Everything of who I was just seemed to be hindering my ability to love people there. And I was too ostentatious. I was too forward. I was not quiet enough. I was not reserved enough. And when you're in a society, you need to, be, when you're in Rome, like, do as the Romans do. Like, you've got to get down on your knees and, like, meet the people where they're at. And for me, that just seemed like I was doing that crab exercise, like walking backwards on my hands and feet. And I was just like, God, this is not easy. So I just remember in LTS, as he talked about this, I was like, God, are you serious? Like, I'll go if you want me to, but that'd be really hard. And not only would it be hard, I just felt like my gifts and my abilities could be used in a greater way somewhere else. So as I was praying through this whole thing, I was like, God, what do you want me to do with this? Like, I fit in with Latinos. I don't know if you knew this, but I fit in with them. And the more I saw it, I was like, wait. And I remembered back to that time when I was out in Africa, and I was with a group of like 30 of us, and I was the only American girl, and then there was a couple of American guys, but the rest of them were Latinos, and their ability to adapt to that culture was incredible. Like they were in their element. It was me who was awkward. They were just fine. They were able to walk, like, I don't know, my ability, it seemed as if my ability to adapt to the Latin culture is the same ability that Latins have to adapt to, say, Muslim cultures, or even Hindi cultures, or Buddhist cultures. And so it's very interesting to see that degree of difference. And just in my prayer with LTS, I feel like God really just revealed that to me, that if I gain the knowledge and wisdom that it takes to be ministering in a completely closed country, ministering the gospel and being able to reach Muslims and getting that information, if I train and raise up Latins to go to the 1040 window using that wisdom and knowledge, I will be able to strengthen and hone the skills of the people who would actually be most beneficial serving in those areas. I want to start doing discipleship training schools for Latinos and for people who have a heart for Latinos, dealing with specific issues that are risen up and that have a huge influence in the Latin community, training them up and then sending them to the 1040 window. So essentially that's my plan in a nutshell.